Well, greetings. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to set up your altar if you want to charge your herbs. And remember, we're still talking about money type spells this month. So how to charge your herbs to create the oils or the incense you want to use in your money spells. Now this video is only on that because it can be quite complex. I see a lot of people just showing you how to add a whole bunch of herbs together into the oil and shake it or put it under the moonlight and it's a good herb. And maybe it is. If you're getting the result, doesn't matter what you're doing, the results matters. I'm going to show you a way that I use to create oils for the left-hand path style of works. And it is very different because I'm not using a whole bunch of herbs together when I'm creating my magical oil, because each herb that I put into an oil has to be really well researched, and there's some considerations that I'm going to share with you in this video that need to be accounted for. And some of those considerations are the planetary influence on the herb. So which planet influences a herb? What time of day you should magically charge your herb, and that will depend on which planet affects that herb, and also which element is that herb under, which element, which witchy element does that herb fall under. And I'm going to be talking about cinnamon because cinnamon is a common herb that we mainly will have in our cupboards at home, but also cinnamon is really popular in money magic, whether it's the cinnamon sticks or the powder. I like both actually for magical works, and I'll be telling you about the importance of the pentagram and all of those other aspects. Okay, so let's get into that in this video because it's quite important. Now, each angle of the pentagram corresponds to one of the 5 basic elements on the left-hand path, and that is earth, fire, spirit, water, and air. The element of earth symbolizes the forces of nature and life in all its manifestations. It's the beast inside us humans. This element provides birth, life and death, health and sexuality. The element of fire symbolizes forces that are changing everything in the world. Fire is power and energy. It's construction and deconstruction. One just cannot exist without the other, and this is the element of fire. The element of air symbolizes knowledge, freedom, boundless opportunities, and everything young and new. The forces of air break all dogmas and overcome all obstacles. The element of water symbolizes time, fantasy, and mysteries, things that are not visible because it's underwater. But these things have a great influence on everything that happens in this world. And finally, the element of spirit. The spirit is a really important element because it really symbolizes our personality and our force of will. It is important that the angle of the pentagram points downwards towards the user and not upwards towards somewhere else. So to create the oils for black magic purposes, for my own money work, what I do is I find out what their element is. Are they a fire, an earth, a water, an air element? And then I'll place them on the appropriate point on my pentagram. I'm then going to charge that with the planetary influence of that herb. So to give you an example of what I mean, I'll talk about popular herbs such as, say, cinnamon or cinnamon sticks, no matter what variety. Now, cinnamon is ruled by the element of fire. This is what will charge or bring to life the herb cinnamon. So when you get into trance, when you're really bringing this herb alive, you're going to be putting the cinnamon onto the pentagram point that is ruled by fire. Oh, don't want to knock that over. So I put them in these little cups. I'd really be meditating and charging the herb under the element of fire. So I'd be invoking fire and charging the herb under that fire element. Now also I'd be connecting, or maybe even put a sigil of the planetary sigil for the sun, because the sun is the planetary correspondence for the herb cinnamon. So when I'm charging cinnamon, I am putting it onto the point of the elemental point of fire, okay, which is in the top left-hand corner, and I'm connecting with the planetary influence of the sun. And by doing all of that and calling down to the planet for the planetary influence to affect our cinnamon, to charge the cinnamon, that is what's going to bring the herb alive, because we're charging the herb. We're actually starting to set the intention for the herb, because we're not just putting whatever it is into oil, right? When you see some videos and they're just putting the herb straight into the oil, I mean, sure, whatever, you can get a result. But what you're really doing is bringing a herb alive by considering all the magical charging points possible to actually bring that herb alive and to charge it with the intention that you have in store for that herb, right? Then once it's charged, once it's brought to life, that's when you can actually start adding it to the oil or continue with the oil making process. Okay. Planetary hours actually have a lot to do as well with the successful charging of the herb. For example, today is Monday and it's 2:05 p.m. on a Monday. And so what I need to do, I always print out a lot of these different types of charts. I'll have to look at my correspondence chart and find out, okay, we know cinnamon is ruled by the planetary system, the sun. And so I should have done the charging at either 10 a.m., okay, or Monday, or I can do it at 5 p.m. today, okay? Because you can see there, Monday, oh, sorry about that, 10 a.m. or 5 p.m. That is when you're going to have the greatest chance for success of waking up that herb, of charging that herb with its true purpose or intention. So yeah, it can get a little bit labor intensive, but this is why I have them all set up around the pentagram. I would light a candle, I would do the intentional spell, invoking all of those different elements to wake that herb up first. And then I could even leave it sitting there for a little while. So if you want another consideration to think about, you might also want to think about the moon phase. Now, generally speaking, or as a rule of thumb, if you're doing white magic work, then the waxing of the moon is when you'll be doing this type of work. You know, you'd wait to that time of the month when the moon is waxing, and then you would set up your altar and do the charging of the herbs. But if for black magic works or herb creation, especially if they're baneful type of herbs, you might be doing it to the waning of the moon, when the moon is taking away or decreasing. So you might want to consider that. For me personally, I'm just focusing on the planetary hour and the elemental correspondences, and having this all set up right on my altar to do the actual charging of the herb. So I hope I haven't confused you guys too much with that. I know it sounds like a lot, and I'm giving it to you piece by piece so you can start looking into this a little bit more, grab a little bit more information. But the charging of the herb itself is one of the most important parts of creating your own magical oil. So I'll have on the website, I'll have some herbs that I use for money work, and so you might want to go ahead and have a look at those and then do your own work. I'm not going to spoon feed you. Do your own work and work out the elemental correspondences, what planetary influences are affecting the herb, and start writing this down in your own book of shadows. Go and get, I think even on the Black Witch Coven website, we might have a planetary hours correspondence chart, but it's really simple to look up online anywhere that you like. So now that you know that it's a planetary influence that affects the herb, and that herb has to be charged by that planetary influence, then you're going to want to start to group the similar type of herbs together. And once again, this can be time consuming, right? This is why witches and people that make herbs and oils and formulas, we keep our recipes quite secret, because it takes us a long time to come up with a formula that really works. Now, that's not to say you can't make an oil or a formula that isn't going to work wonderfully well, because you absolutely have the power within you to do that. And all I'm asking you to do is not choose too many herbs to put in that one oil. You'll have a fabulous oil if you only choose, for example, 1 or 2 of the similar grouping herbs and put them together. So have fun with your research. I'm heading off to Vegas right now, so I'll have another video for you in a couple of days. Bye for now.